Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started so we don't lose any time. So my name is Jessica Sarlandi. I'm a member of Arqus Working Group 5, so our working group on teaching innovation. We're very happy to have you here for what is now our second issue of our series on AI in teaching and learning, international perspectives and best practices. So I'll be explaining a bit today how everything is going to work, and I will be presenting our speakers. So our agenda today, I'm going to give you a quick introduction to our objectives for the session and tell you a few things about the technical side of today. Essentially, we will be having 3 speakers who will be speaking for 10 minutes each about how they use AI in their teaching or for teaching support. And then after their presentations, we will have 2 breakout question and answer sessions where you'll be able to ask them more questions about what they've discussed in their session. And then we'll have a short time for conclusion at the end. So just to share the objectives with our session with you, the series that you're seeing today was born in order to gain insights into diverse teaching practices with artificial intelligence from the various universities and disciplines of our alliance. To give the chance to exchange ideas with colleagues from all over Europe on the topic of AI in teaching, and to gain inspiration for the use of AI in your own teaching practice through good examples. So just a few notes again on our speakers and their sessions. I'll be introducing them. They'll be speaking for 10 minutes. When the speakers are giving their presentation, we ask you to not interject with questions. So please keep any questions you may have for the breakout parallel sessions. That's where you will have the opportunity to interact with the speakers directly and ask questions about their presentations. Please note that the presentation part of today is being recorded. The breakout sessions won't be recorded, but what you're seeing right now is recorded. As we said, we will ask you to keep your microphones off during the different presentations today. And when we get to the breakout session after the presentations, you will be able to choose the speaker whose room you wish to participate in. So you'll see there'll be a screen that pops up, and you'll be able to choose from the 3 different breakout rooms according to the speaker you wish to interact with more directly. And I think that is when we do the breakout sessions, I'll give you a little bit more advice, but we'll be moved immediately from one breakout session to the next. And Paula, who is here from Teaching for Learning at Padua, is also available to answer any technical questions or problems that may come up. So feel free if you need to use the chat for help with that. She is available to help. So I think we are ready to start with our speakers. So we're going to start today with, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can introduce the first speaker. So we're going to start today with Marina Bertolini, who is a tenure-track researcher in economic statistics of the Department of Statistical Sciences at the University of Padua. She is specialized in energy markets and environmental policies with a focus on evaluation methodologies. Her research interests also include how to measure the impact of AI tools on the learning process. So Marina, now I'll leave it over to you if you want to share your screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for this kind introduction. Today I will present a very practical experience I had in one of my courses. So the agenda is looking at our learning outcomes, which was the target group of the activity, a brief description of the implementation that actually was quite, I must say, complex, but not due to the AI part, and then our future perspective on this. So why did I decide to use the AI for my course? At that time, ChatGPT was mostly used to do, some games or some tries because it was almost 3 years ago. So many things happened. Then also many other tools came into the market, but it was somehow at the beginning of the application also for studying purposes. So I wanted to help my student to understand how to use it to support their study. Um, I decided to stress the tool by asking the students to complete something, to complete an assignment in a very, very short time frame. So we wanted to see if it was useful to cut down some activities in a work I did, I gave them to do in class. They had to discuss with their peers about the use of the AI, so I wanted to activate somehow a discussion directly about the tool. And then I wanted also to help them to understand which was which were my expectations about their work. So this was a way also to better align the starting phase when with the exam and the outcomes I was expecting from them. As I was telling at the beginning, we had students of a master degree in 2023, 2024 academic year. And then I repeated this approach also the past semester, so 2024 and 2025. What is needed to be specified here is that my students there were not very passionate about the topic. I teach statistics, and I was teaching to non-expert students and people who were there, in a compulsory with a compulsory approach. And due to this, I needed to give some guideline to approach the AI as a tool, being a non-expert user and a non-expert, especially non-expert student of the topic. Just to be clear, I would not say that this kind of experiment, let's say, would be the same if I did it in a statistical class, so in a statistical master. What which was my sorry, I need to move this bar here. Okay. um how was implemented this part? Okay, I was a framework that was the team-based learning framework. I had planned 2 sessions for the course in this team-based learning. So, maybe many of you already know the team-based learning approach. We have in this case, only 2 topics that were directly studied by the students at home, and then they were required to work in group and check their learning through some exercises and through an assignment I gave them to do in class. The AI part was related to the development of this assignment, and I ask them to use AI as a peer. So considering, in that case, most of them used ChatGPT, but also other tools, especially in the second year, because they were more aware what was there in the market. So I asked them to use AI as a peer, and I didn't give many information on how to make prompts or how to use it in this session. What happened? Okay, they used it in a very chaotic way. The first run was characterized by low quality assignments with a huge presence of useless information, for example, in the assignments. because the tool was more devoted to provide many information, many descriptions, which were not so technical as required from the topic, from the subject they were using. We revised these assignments and then we ran a second session after a month, more or less. And with this second session, I really saw the improvement in the approach they had with the AI. Most of them decided to reduce it, but what is more relevant, they decided first to work with human peers and then to include the AI. This is something they communicate through a survey I asked them to produce after this experience. Um, in the second year of this experiment, I decided to open my course with a sort of basic lecture on AI functioning, AI activity, and also talking them about which was the experience we had the year before, also highlighting most common mistakes their colleagues did 1 year before. But actually, what happened is that the court was behaving just like the previous one. So, regardless my introductory lecture, and also regardless the improvement, the technological improvement of ChatGPT, that was the most used. I talk about it because 99% of people in my class was using this tool. Still, they made the same errors of the class that did not have any information about how to use it. So my point is that only through this real implementation, it was possible to deliver some practical tool, a best practice approach to the students. Because even if I was preparing this introductory lecture, this was completely useless for them. Of course, different kind of students and different kind of environment might lead to other results, but as I was telling you, this is a pilot, of course, and we need to discover which is the best approach for our students. What to do next? Of course, since this is very, very a raw implementation, especially in the first year, we need to extend also to other levels of complexity. For example, now I'm working with mathematicians and they have higher statistical and mathematical skills, so they also need other kind of support from the AI, and we need to explore which are the limits also for them. Still, we need to regulate this use. For example, now I'm doing some exercises in class and some group work in class. So I ask them only to use it for coding if necessary. And then we need also to establish a fair environment, because I don't want to stay them there to control if they use it or not. Since they are working group, peers are controlling the behavior of other peers. Of course, this cannot be done if they work at home. So I prefer to use and regulate AI in class. What I'm doing right now is to use it to revise work and compare human review with AI review of their assignment. And I think that this is useful because they also see the perspective the tool is providing. They have the possibility to keep their revision original and also not to collapse to two reports that are all the same, because we can see the approach that is different depending on the sensitiveness of each group. That's all. I think I was Okay, my
Perfect. Yeah, your timing is perfect. Great.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marina. Thank you for your presentation. So everyone will ask again that you keep your questions for the breakout session. We're going to move now to our second speaker. So Eric Lopez, I'll give him a brief introduction. So Eric holds a degree in civil engineering from the University of Brasilia and is a PhD student and visiting professor at the University of Minho. His work focuses on healthcare operations, Industry 4.0, sustainability, and engineering education, with experience in consulting, research, and innovation in active learning and digital transformation. Go ahead, Eric. Thank you.
So, hello everyone, I'm Eric, and today I will share briefly one of our experiments developing chatbots. This one was at the University of Minimum and specifically on process modeling learning. And I will talk about our experiment and the main learnings we had. So, this is the agenda for today, a brief introduction, then methodology, results, discussions, conclusions, and next steps. But I will try to focus more on the implementation of the chatbot and what we are doing now after this first trial. So if you are here, you already know artificial intelligence is part of engineering education and education in general. We have not only the students trying to use it, but also professors and companies are demanding the students to have these skills, and they need to know how to interact, how to use, how to understand it, and mostly how to be more productive. And we thought it would be good to have chatbots at the class so the students could interact with a directed way and also understanding what was behind it. And also, depending on how you understand artificial intelligence, you can even use low-code platforms and AI to develop your own chatbots. So even non-technical professors, I mean, the ones that don't have technical background in informatics or systems engineering, they can nowadays develop their own chatbots and have this kind of approach in their classes. And why chatbots? Because in our understanding, it's a easy way and feasible way for everyone to develop something that the students can be more actively and do their own questions. They can have their own pace to understand things, to have some doubts, ask questions. And also we can do it in different languages. So with international students, we can have chatbots that answer in English, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, and it also can be helpful for them to learn in their native language. So in your case, we did this six steps methodology with these four iterations at the end. And the idea was to apply it in a master's course from production management process. And we did both interviews and surveys with students that were attending and also professionals that knew about process modeling and had like traditional approaches. So we could compare their understanding, like if they would like to have this when they studied like years or months ago on process modeling. And our main requirements were like no extra costs. I mean, universities usually can't afford more technologies, or if they can, it's like really bureaucratic to buy it. Reduce the development time and being replicable for non-technical professors. I mean, without IT knowledge. So the idea was not only to develop our chatbot, but to create a method that other professors could also do the same. And nowadays, it's actually one workshop we'll be giving, like how to develop a chatbot in less than 2 hours. And in this case, the idea was like the students in process modeling, they kind of have to model a process. So we give them a text, they would interpret and then do the model dry and then try to understand it. But in real life, they just don't like to read a text. They have to ask questions, interview like workers, and sometimes people don't have the information. They have to ask other people or they give you wrong information. So we trained a chatbot so they could simulate this process map interview and they would learn not only how to model a process, but how to gather information from the company. And instead of reading, and reading, they would ask a question. Oh, it's not clear. Ask another question and another question. And maybe the chatbot would give a wrong question on purpose. And then they would have to do a second interview with a second chatbot and simulate like a real life environment and give them this understanding first, how to do the interviews, how to gather information, but also understanding how the chatbot works because they might also develop their own chatbots or use AI in different ways in their professional career and personal lives. And we used Copilot Studio. This is like a quick video that's showing like how it works. And I mean, uh, we can see like it's really no code. So you can just give like textual information. You add your knowledge. You can remove internet access. So you won't have a lot of hallucinations from the chatbot And most of the universities that I know, they already use Microsoft, so you can also integrate it with specific triggers. So when a student send you an email, you can like trigger to the chatbot, or if they are using the chatbot, you can triggers to I schedule a meeting with you and you receive it by email, you give them your schedule and they can book it by themselves. So you can also like use a non-paid for platform and develop it like in 20, 30 minutes, and then go more in advance and do like different integrations with Microsoft Excel, spreadsheets, Microsoft Word, specific triggers, emails, Microsoft Teams. And we thought it would be really good to do this like fully approach in Microsoft Suite. And I mean, first of all, because we didn't have any extra courses at University of Michigan. And after that, when we publish the chatbot, it's already available in like in a public link. So students can really students can receive it on WhatsApp. They can open by their smartphones. They can open the computer. We can also integrate it under like Microsoft Teams again. But they can do the questions. They can ask more. We can redirect for external links, external references. We can give them like the answers. We can send surveys and assess like how was the interaction, how long they interacted with the chatbot. So we did this first trial with one process. We had Lateco, it was his name, and he was like one worker in a company that we created, and they would do the interview and we would like assess how was the final process, if they like got it right and they could model the process. And as you can see in the video, we were also redirecting them for some extra materials where they could like check the answers and also get some of the regulation specifics. And by the end, I mean, we did these interviews and these questionnaires, and the most positive aspects were like clarifying concepts quickly. So they didn't have to answer professors that sometimes would take 1, 2 weeks to answer emails, and then they could do it like right on time with the chatbot. They said it was really intuitive and accessible, and it would also help them in the learning process with quick responses. But once nowadays we have ChatGPT, for example, if you are going to develop a chatbot, it should be good because everyone expects that level of interaction. So if you give a chatbot that hallucinates or give limited answers, as this one was doing, they would be a bit frustrated because they expect ChatGPT level interaction and in-depth information, and I mean, not only predefined responses. But overall, we had really good assessment, both from the like workers and both from the students. We saw like a bit of difference because the industry professionals liked the idea more, probably because they knew the gap they had once they went to real life. When the students were already like just, okay, would be easier for us maybe just to read a text and do a test. But this way, when the ones who had both options realized better how good it was or could be. And after that, we concluded like chatbot can enhance the engagement, also support the learning, but also can reduce teaching workload because I can't answer that many emails. Sometimes I can't give that attention. I can't translate all my materials, and I can do that like using the chatbot automatically. It has a potential to be a complementary learning tool, so we still keep our lessons, but we do a extra activity with chatbot, and at least this is our approach. Low code platforms are a really, really good opportunity to non-IT people develop their own solutions and I mean understand not only how to develop, but what is running behind the front end so they could understand it better and maybe even work with this better. And we are now trying to iterate this model and creating other chatbots and developing these chatbots in other contexts. So here I have like just some links from other research. This first one was the paper about Lateco, the chatbot for process modeling, I told you. And there's also Naira. We developed in an Erasmus program a chatbot to speak 4 languages and do like the onboarding of new students in the project. Again, you can use chatbots not only on teaching practice, but also to do like frequently asked questions, working schedule, tests, reviews, and so on. So we have like several researches on using chatbots, not only for teaching, but also administrative activities that we professors have. And also the last one is just a paper about this workshop. We gave already 5 editions, and I think it will be one edition at Arqus workshops as well. So it's like how to develop a chatbot in less than 2 hours using this approach, using Microsoft Studio. And we have seen like different amazing results in different universities. And the idea was here just to share about this first one we did and one of our main understandings about that. Thank you. I guess I was 1 minute ahead.
Great. Thank you, Eric. That was right on time as well. Thank you. That's really helpful for our seminar today. Thank you very much, Eric. And so everyone, again, please keep your questions for the breakout sessions, where if you wish, you can talk to Eric more about his presentation. So now we will move on to our third and final presentation from Giuliana Raffagelli. So Giuliana is an associate professor at the University of Padua. She teaches research methods in education and educational evaluation. She is the PI of the Erasmus Plus project ETH Tech on ethics of AI and data in education. Her research focuses on digital ethics, data literacy, and post-digital education, fostering educators' critical engagement with technology and promoting ethically grounded learning practices. So, Giuliana, now I will give the floor over to you. And I believe you are muted.
Okay.
Great.
Good.
Now,
Okay, thank you for having me and about this presentation on the students' critical usage of artificial agents in project-based learning. So um, uh, just to learn to know a little bit about the context where this activity was carried out. It's a bachelor degree, so first Bologna, and I repeated this intervention from the spring 2023, then in 2004 and 2000 and its current year 2005. With about 60 more students, but the data I collected was about 20 and 25 students, 90% females, from a program, a curriculum, training trainers that are intended, will work in human resources management in industry context, industry or organizational context. And my questions were to them, how will you encounter AI in your professional activity? And how can I introduce AI into the classroom to make my students to engage critically with these tools? So it's about, the focus is learning with AI and learning about AI. The first one is considering AI as part of a future professional practice, and the second one is to learn about AI as an instrument to learn within, an academic pathway. Just to understand a little bit the differences in how can we use AI in our teaching in higher education. The idea is that some tasks will lead our students to do simple things like remembering or understanding, and some others will lead our students to be more critical, to promote their meta-learning, so to say, learning to learn, and creating content and evaluating and practicing judgment. And in my particular case, I introduced two types of conversational agents or chatbots. And from the one side, I wanted my students to discuss about the academic integrity, privacy issues, the problems that can be connected to the conversational agents usage in professional activity. And from the other side, within our classroom activity, supporting project work, as I said, is creative effort, but also supporting me to produce some contents that could lead the students to remember or achieving more, content about my program. So here is something we have to bear in mind, that the literature is saying to us, very recent literature is saying to us that lower levels, Bloom's lower levels can be disempowered by the problem of cognitive offloading. So the idea is that since the activities are facilitated by conversational agents, our students and us professionals in the future will tend to, get better results with less effort, but not always understanding and putting sufficient cognitive effort that will mean learning, relevant learning for themselves. Instead, Bloom's higher levels, like creative approaches or judgmental activities, might be empowered, provided that we do, key support as teachers. So, for example, meta-reflection and critical judgments require particular operations from us as teachers to achieve this type of results. And here is what I did in class. This is the learning management system, so the place where the materials were placed. And you can see there was a general information part, and then an area with resources and working groups. And particularly, the activity was carried out in 3 main phases: inquire, understand and collaborate, and design and experiment. So the students were invited to understand, for example, structured tests and automated feedback in, training activities. They were invited to inquire about structured tests and automatic feedback. Then they were invited to, dig deeper and collaborate to test some tools providing automated feedback, or creating some online tests to support professional learning. And then they were expected to design a workshop, an experiment with peers connected with this type of tool. So testing some particular tools used in assessment and automated feedback in professional learning. The whole process might take 90 days. How did we use conversational agents? From one side to organize learning activities, from the other side to, for example, expand our inquiry, support our creativity and our collaboration processes, and then to create content from the design and experiment phase. So there was both the lower levels and the higher levels of the Bloom taxonomy. Here is one response by one student displaying what I was saying. There was, interactions, in this case with ChatGPT. And this was Lucrezia, which is a particular tool. It is embedded in our Moodle, our learning management system, and it was created by the University of Padua. You have to train the tool, and then the students can use it, for example, to address concerns about how to organize their work. The tool is not cannot cover, for example, a whole curriculum because of the quantity of material and the misleading responses it could create. Here are some results from the students, and as you can see, as the colleague from statistics said at the beginning, and particularly after being exposed to this type of tools from 2023 to 2025, there was a more critical stance. So there was a development where they were very enthusiastic in using and about the responses the chatbot create. But as far as the experience on using this type of chatbots grows, they are more critical. They are like, okay, it can provide some sort of responses, but some others will never be addressed and will require more professional support by the teacher, or digging deeper as from our side as students to understand the type of response and to engage and supervise the type of content produced. I'm going very fast, and with this I'm about to conclude. As you can see, what I was saying, in 2023, the students were mostly confident, enthusiastic about the impact on future professionals, the tools being useful and relevant and not being dangerous. Instead, what I could witness as we move forward with experience in the wild and within the course, so I'm comparing three different courses, the students were exposed to this type of tools in the wild by their own usage. And what we can see is that, for example, the concerns about these tools being dangerous grew up with the time. This is the upper line is 2025, and this is the dangerous point. But despite that, the students consider being the tool being relevant, useful, and relevant for future professionals in all cases. So some things to reflect upon is that the effect of novelty, like we are enthusiastic at the beginning because we really don't understand very much the tool, but as far as we provide support as teachers and the students themselves engage in the wild, there is the effect of decreasing enthusiasm and the need to be more focused on the type of interactions we can get from the tool. Because artificial intelligence is complex, it's relational, and of course, the ethical issues can be better grasped by successive interactions. So I will stop here. And of course, there will be questions, I guess, about the specific activity. Thank you.